Hi guys. So I was recently asked to introduce people to Gene Keys and human design at a festival, and I had a minute max, or like 30 seconds. And I was thinking about it, and I asked some of people that I know that are also into it and that are sharing about it and teaching it, and what would they said if they had like a couple of sentences. And it was interesting because I got many different answers, and some that really made a lot of sense, and some that I was like, wow, so interesting. I would never have thought of that way of explaining it. And then wondering, if you want people to feel into and understand what the essence of something is, how can you how can you how can you concentrate it down to its essence? And I know that Richard is speaking a lot about this, and I also remember at the ambassador retreat I had the chance to kind of ask ask him for advice. um, I don't remember exactly how it came out, but it was an exercise, and he said to really, how can we really make things come down to their essence. So more and more I'm looking and how to do that, and I have those opportunities to actually just have a minute to make something really clear. um, and if we don't know anything about the systems, I would love to hear how you would summarize it, especially maybe if you've been in it for a while and now it's kind of crystallizing so that you feel what it really is. Because one thing is what we think it is before we start, and then when we go into the experiment or we go into the journey of the golden path, it can turn out to be something very different. Mm. For me, when I think about it, it's kind of, I would ask people, have you ever felt like you are stuck, or that you're going, round and round in the same patterns? And when that happened, like, do you tend to judge yourself, and do you tend to feel, maybe despondent or hopeless that you're never going to get out of that loop, or of that feeling of being stuck and not really living your purpose? And for me, those systems are a way of basically peeling off what isn't you. So peeling off, kind of getting out of the conditioning, and start to dissolving or transcending the fear. With the Gene Keys, it's a lot about that, the shadow work and the fear, that the way that we go there, and we allow it, and then it starts to dissolve. And with the human design, it's a lot of looking at the not self and the open centers, and start to understand where we have our definition and our inner authority, and live from that. And when we do that, what happens is that we can start to go out in the world aligned with our soul and our, being our true self, and we can start to shine from that. And by law of resonance, also, that is what we're going to attract more to ourselves. And there was somebody who told me, actually Victoria from Health Manifested, when I asked her, she said, well, ultimately it's about falling in love with ourselves. Because when we take away the conditioning and the fears, when we start walking the world as who we are, then basically we can start to fall in love with ourselves, because it's only truth that is left. And we become vessels for that. And we are walking our imprint, we are walking our design. We are walking our hologenic profile, but we're not walking it in the shadow frequencies out of fear. We're walking it in expansion. And what I would say as well, looking at especially human design and how we can use that, is that we can also do the chart for somebody that is close to us, and then we can put the charts together, and we can see the electromagnetic connections, we can see the challenges, we can see like the penta activations, and we can really start to understand the other, so that also actually we fall in love with the other, or at least we can start to accept them, and we can start to have the compassion that maybe we haven't been able to. And the same thing, I mean, the Venus sequence is also a wonderful example from the Gene Keys of how we can start to thread through relationships, because that's in that mirroring. There's nothing else that we need. We just need we just need the mirroring of the other and the art of contemplation. So the ability to pause and not just react, to pause in relationship and to take in and to receive, and to be able to together see what's there and go deeper and start to thread with more love, and also allow each other the space to process our own you know blockages, and not always being there to fix each other. So that's also what Richard say that we don't have to go into the Venus sequence with our partner. It's enough that one person does the work, because the work is really an inner work. And when we shift, when we change, that's really when that also comes out, and that we start to, things around us start to change. And I was on my Delta call today, and one of my Delta sisters, she was saying, she was telling us that a lot of the things are happening in the United States, and the current president, and a lot of the things that are that are coming out right now, that it kind of feels like being under a black cloud. And she was telling us with her husband that she had felt like that in their marriage, and then one day she decided to stop trying to fix his emotions and make him feel better, and just not engage in that anymore. And from that, their whole relationship changed, because she was not doing that one thing anymore. So many times when we change our own way of seeing things and what we think is our role or our responsibility, and we come back to alignment with what we really are, like, so many things can just so easily start to change and dissolve, and the new dynamics are being created out of that. So I guess this is kind of what I would use to explain human design and the Gene Keys and what those systems can do. And the kind of the whole point is that when we start to live in alignment, the way that we penetrate the world is going to be completely different, and the way that we feel on the inside, the inner, is also going to be completely different from when we live from fear, from conditioning, like kind of turning away from our blockages, or escaping, or going up on the roof, or being in conflict, all the shadows of the lines that we can engage in order to not go there, and do the work, are ways of bypassing our truth. So it takes a lot of courage, and I feel like that's one of the main things. If we're going to stick with those systems and not just do a reading, or write or read some posts on Facebook, if we really want to do the work, it takes courage, because it's really to strap something off completely, so that only truth and alignment is left. It's not for the faint-hearted. So thank you.